I've been dreaming, friendly faces. I've got so much time to kill. Just imagine people laughing. I know someday we will. And even if it's far away, get me through another day. Cover me in sunshine, shower me with good times. Tell me that the world's been spinning since the beginning, and everything will be alright. Cover me in sunshine. From a distance, all these mountains are just some tiny hills. Wildflowers, they keep living high. Oh, they're just there and still. I've been missing yesterday, but what if there's a better place? Cover me in sunshine, shower me with good times. Tell me that the world's been spinning since the beginning, and everything will be alright. Cover me in sunshine, shower me with good times. Tell me that the world's been spinning since the beginning, and everything will be alright. Cover me in sunshine. La la la. Cover me in sunshine, shower me with good times. Tell me that the world's been spinning since the beginning, and everything will be alright. Cover me in sunshine.
Good morning. And just before we begin, if you have a mobile phone and it's not turned on to silent, could I just ask you to make sure that it is? Thank you very much. Now we have a candle to be lit, so Kylie, if you'd like to come forward, it's just over there. Thank you. So today we light the candle and it represents our love for Sandra. What makes a beautiful person? And this is by Graham Cook. A laugh that's there for all to share, a heart compassionate and kind, a soul that makes friends everywhere, and to prejudice is blind. Eyes that see only a person's best, a mouth that tells no lies, but smiles with the warmth of a helping hand. These are qualities we prize. And all these things we find in you. No need there is to pretend. And the thing that we love most of all is the fact that you are part of our family and a friend. So welcome everyone. We have gathered here today with heavy hearts to celebrate Sandra's life. She has been one of life's treasures, loved so deeply by her family and well respected by so many. And I'd like to welcome family and friends watching via the live stream, and we know it's difficult not being able to be here, so I hope that you find some comfort in being able to watch the service today. When we think of Sandra, what comes to mind is her kind and loving nature, how generous she was and how she was a giver and not a taker. From her humble beginnings in a small cottage on the Robson family farm, surrounded by the love of her family, to her beautiful home on the hill, with love, made with love and big enough to accommodate her growing family. Sandra has touched everyone's lives here today in one way or another, and we are all richer for her having done so. And today we farewell a much-loved daughter, wife, mother, mother-in-law, sister, sister-in-law, grandmother, great-grandmother-to-be, auntie, cousin and friend. And life can be so unfair at times, and Sandra has been taken too soon. My name is Robin Johnston, and it is an honour and a privilege to be able to take this service today for Sandra. And I would like to take this opportunity to offer my sincerest condolences to the family for allowing me to, and thank you very much for allowing me to help you through this difficult time. On behalf of her dearly loved husband Stephen, her much loved children, Logan and his wife Nikki, Bronwyn and her husband Adam, and Kylie and her husband Matt, her cherished grandchildren Victoria, Esme, Danielle, Edwin, Watson and Aubrey, her adored sisters, the late Joanne and Raywin and Tracy, and their families. And I thank you all for being here today to offer your love and support. And after the service today, the family warmly invites you to join them for refreshments in the lounge. And this will give you more time to share memories of Sandra over a cuppa and a bite to eat. Sandra was born on the 28th of October 1957 to Ken and Marilyn Robson. She was their much-loved oldest child with younger daughters Joanne, Raywin and Tracy. And the family lived in a small cottage next to her grandparents' farms. And with there not being much room, Sandra and her sisters shared a room. And this would be the beginning of their lifetime of love and respect for each other. There was very little money to go around, but Ken and Marilyn made sure their daughters had everything they needed. And Sandra felt that she had an idyllic childhood and did not miss out on anything. She spent her time with family, visiting her grandmother, whom she was very close to, and doing what country kids did. Rambling around the farm with her sisters and cousins, great adventures were had, building huts, looking for eggs and mushrooms. And helping on the farm was also a part of daily life, stacking the hay bales in summer and feeding out in winter. Every year the whole family would gather for tailing, and this became a family tradition, was very much anticipated every year. And it was a time to gather, spending time with those you loved and telling stories of the sheep that got away and the mob that Stephen had in the palm of his hand. Sandra attended Lovell Flat School, where she would walk or bike over the gravel roads to get there, and the school only had 20 to 25 students, which provided a lovely environment to learn. And she was a good student, and from there she went on to Tokomariro High School in Milton, where she was very good at school and in the A class. And following in her mother's footsteps, Sandra played hockey while at school and into her early 20s alongside her sisters. Every year during the Christmas holidays, Sandra and her family would spend a week at her grandfather's crib at Measley's Beach. Cousins were also very much part of their holidays, and this was a carefree time for Sandra and her sisters. And the time was spent swimming for most of the day, but they managed to include climbing sandhills, floundering and going for walks on the beach, as well as other activities. With living in the country, Sandra's teenage years were spent having fun with her sisters and cousins who lived nearby. And when she began working for the post office in Dunedin, she went flatting with Carolyn, her cousin, after a short stay at the YWCA. And this was a significant milestone in Sandra's life, a country girl moving to the big city. Even though a young Stephen Kelly didn't live far away as the crow flies, his and Sandra's paths didn't cross until one night at a young farmer's do. He recognised that Sandra had the same values as himself and shared the same vision of family and farming. Sandra then moved back down south and took up the role as a senior clerk at the Clutha branch of the post office, and she even managed the Kai branch for a time. They enjoyed attending many dances and balls with the young farmers. These were the main social events of the area, and Stephen recalls that their dancing could be described as average, but in later years, when they attended square dancing lessons, where they had fallen into a good dancing groove with each other. They were engaged in 1976, and a year later, on the 29th of October 1977, one day after Sandra turned 20, they were married at the Balmoral Church in Balclutha. And apparently the weather was miserable that day, and it bucketed down for the whole day. And during her marriage, the early marriage, Sandra continued to play hockey, and on one occasion received a black eye during a game. And she was really worried that people thought, and what they may have thought, and didn't want them to think Stephen had given it to her. After they were married, they bought part of the family farm in Kai. There was talk at the time of moving into an existing house on the land, but Sandra had her heart set on a new house. Their new home was built, and they moved in, and the place wasn't carpeted at that stage, but it was just a work in progress. And it wasn't long until the house was ready to start welcoming the family. Sandra loved to travel, and before she married, she went to Australia for a holiday with her girlfriends, and when she became pregnant with Logan, she travelled to Fiji with Stephen and her mum and dad for a holiday. And Logan was born in 1981, the first of her 3 children, and in 1983 they welcomed Bronwyn into their family, and in 1986 the arrival of Kylie, their family was complete. Sandra was kept busy with a growing family, and as she had been brought up with lots of love but not much money, she sought to give her children the love she had known, but also made sure they had things that she never had. Her parents had also provided her with an impeccable work ethic, and this was shown in her dedication to both her family and in her endeavours. It would have been quite a juggle to do such an amazing job for both roles at the same time, and Sandra was fortunate enough to have both her parents and in-laws close by for support. She settled into farming life, milking cows, looking after her children, and she was capable of anything. She wasn't a baker, and she didn't enjoy cooking, but she was good at making a plate full of asparagus rolls. Sunday nights were always spent at her parents' house, where they would gather for a Sunday roast, and this close relationship continued until her mum sadly passed away. On Fridays, Sandra, along with her mum and children, if they were home, would head to Balclutha to do the groceries. They always went for lunch, and when they were in town, it was always a good day out, and they all looked forward to it. And after Marilyn passed, Sandra continued the weekly lunches with Jenny and on occasion Billy. And this was a time to share family news and keep up to date. When the children were at school, if any of them got sick or injured, and this included nieces and nephews, Sandra would drop everything to be there. She was everyone's go-to person, always capable and happy to help. And as I mentioned before, Sandra went on numerous overseas trips, but one that was really special was a family trip that they went to Disneyland. And when she was a child, Sandra recalled always loving the teacups on the start of the Disney program, and that is what she wanted to do. But Stephen said it looked like it went a lot faster on TV. But as Sandra had always wanted to go, he was happy to be there with her. Sandra and her family, along with her much-loved sisters and their families, would head away on holidays at Christmas. And the kids got to experience holidays similar to Sandra's childhood, where where there was lots of swimming and lots of fun. They went to Arrowtown, Christchurch and Nelson, and on a trip back from Christchurch, Bronwyn was living in Dunedin. They had taken 2 cars and filled them to the brim with shopping. The 2 cars got to Dunedin, and when it was time to leave Bronwyn and the second car, a lasting hysterical memory is of them stuffing the remaining car with all the shopping. And Bronwyn was trying to stuff parcels through the window into people's laps, and Sandra could barely drive from the tears of laughter streaming down her face. Other trips to the Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast with her mum and sisters would see them always going to the Umundi markets, looking for treasures and bargains. And at night they would all sit around with all their purchases from the day, showcasing every item, just like on Christmas Day. And a lasting memory is of her mum Marilyn sitting on top of one of the bulging suitcases while Sandra tried to close it, which resulted in everyone falling around laughing. And they learnt from this experience, and on future trips an extra suitcase would be purchased to avoid this issue. And often the purchases were not for herself. As always, she was thinking of others before herself. Today, Sandra's sisters, daughters and granddaughters are wearing one of her many necklaces in tribute to her. They all look very nice, lovely. Stephen and Sandra travelled to Europe for 10 weeks, which took in the Orkney Isles, where Stephen's granddad had come from, and getting a photograph with the sign Burness was a highlight, which was the name of the family farm. It was a great trip, but Stephen was quite happy to get home. So the next trip to Europe was with her sister Raywin. This time Sandra got to see Ireland and England, and while there they met up with Bronwyn, visiting the town her grandmother had come from as a World War I bride. And they had a wonderful time and made so many wonderful memories. Family was so important to Sandra, and she has been there for each and every one of them. She was incredibly proud of Logan, Bronwyn and Kylie's achievements. Logan in his farming, Bronwyn receiving her long service medal for customs, and Kylie's achievements in HR. She has been there for capping ceremonies, and as the children met their partners, she embraced them all. As the grandchildren began to arrive, she was very much involved in their lives. Always there for sports days, netball and soccer games and school concerts. Trips up north to Fielding with Logan when he was showing his pedigree shorthorn cows were great times for the two of them, and a proud moment when he won. The shorthorn cows had been a part of the family since the children were little, and Stephen and Sandra began their stud way back in the 80s. And there are numerous photos of the children taking their calves to the AMP shows back in the day. A family tradition has always been to go on Boxing Day for a picnic in Wangaloa, where everyone was welcome. With the addition of the grandchildren, these days became even more fun-filled, with races for the children and chocolate gold medals given out as prizes. Over the years, Sandra and her family have spent many holidays down in Invercargill with her sisters and families. And Sandra's dream home was built high on the hill overlooking both the Robson and Kelly land. It has the large family areas and bedrooms to accommodate everyone, just what she always hoped for. And there have been so many wonderful family times there and so many wonderful memories to look back on. In 2014, sadly, Sandra's much cherished sister Joanne passed, followed by the loss of her much loved father in 2015. And in 2017, while working on the farm, Stephen had an accident and was paralysed from the neck down. Sandra was meant to go for lunch that day with family, but she had a feeling she should go and check on him. She found him away over the back of the property, and a helicopter was called, and he spent a considerable amount of time in the Burwood spinal unit, and Sandra was by his side for all of it, only popping back to the farm intermittently to keep things running. While in Christchurch, Sandra's much-loved mum passed away. This was an incredibly sad and difficult time for her, as she had to leave Stephen and return home to be with family and say goodbye to her dear mum, who was her best friend. And thankfully, Stephen made a miraculous recovery and was able to return home and resume most of his work over time. She has always been a giver, taking care of everyone else. A good example of this was her care of John Roberts, a former worker who had no family and lived close by. And when he developed a chronic illness, she took him to all his medical appointments and was there for him, just as she had been there for everyone else that needed her. When Sandra became unwell in October, no one suspected what was to come. She was not given much time, and when her health really began to decline, the family wanted to show her how much she was loved by caring for her at home for as long as possible. She only spent her last 2 nights in Balclutha Hospital. She had many years of being completely selfless, and the family felt it was only right to honour her by doing all that they could. At the beginning of December, everyone got together for an early Christmas, and they had a great day, and many photos were taken to remember and cherish. Sandra was due to become a great-grandmother early next year, and sadly she will not be here to meet the new addition. In view of this, she was the only person to be told the name of the baby, and this was a secret that she kept until she passed. After caring for Sandra at home as long as they could, the time came for her to be taken to hospital. And with her loving family at her side, Sandra sadly lost her battle on Monday the 18th. She leaves behind many broken hearts and will be forever cherished and so dearly missed. I'd now like to invite Danielle and Esme to come forward to share their memories.
When we think of Grandma Sandra, the first thing that comes to our minds is her loving smile, her selfless attitude, and her fierce heart.
Sandra was a loving grandma, helpful friend, and definitely one of the most important people in our lives. We are very sad to see her go, but we are happy to know she's had a wonderful life full of smiles and fun memories.
Some of our favourite memories with Grandma are the all-you-can-eat buffet in Fiji and the cool theme parks in Australia.
We have many more, like the special Mother's Day afternoon and her watching our netball most Saturday mornings.
Grandma was a special addition to our family, and we are extremely sad to see her go. Rest in peace, Grandma.
How special was that? And beautiful speaking there, girls. And the buffet at Fiji, all you can eat, sounds pretty good, really. And I'd now like to invite Sandra's sisters, Raywin and Tracy, to come up.
You can start small one.
I will. Sandra, our big sister. There are countless poems about not grieving for a loved one. They would not want you to do that. Well, we don't believe that. Our tears honour your existence, and we shed them proudly to show the world how important you were. And if we break down during this, we do not apologise.
We know you fought hard to stay with us, but it wasn't to be. One day we will all be together again. So ask Dad to put the jug on for a cup of tea. Not too full. We don't want to waste electricity. He was very well known for that. And then ask Mum to get out the custard squares, which was a favourite for the family. And make sure you and Joe are settled on the couch, really comfy, and ready for a family catch-up, just like we always used to do. That was a favourite time for us. We would get together when we stayed and spent time with them. We will miss you every day.
We miss you all every day. Yeah, this poem is for you. I can't believe we're standing here. It all feels so unreal. Everything happens so fast. We just don't know what to feel. Our lives go on without you, but nothing is the same. We have to hide our heartache when someone speaks your name. Sad are the hearts that love you, silent are the tears that fall. Living here without you is the hardest part of all. You did so many things for us, your heart was kind and true, and when we needed someone, we could always count on you. The special years will not return when we are all together, but with the love in our hearts, you will walk with us forever. Sandra, we hope you knew how important you were. No one can take your place. And when grief becomes overwhelming, we will remember your kind and gentle face. With all our love, forever and always, your loving sisters, Raymond and Tracy.
We've got a series of flowers, and each represents Mum, Dad, and Joe, as well as ourselves. So put that on.
Thank you very much, Raywin and Tracy. I'd now like to invite Bronwyn forward to share memories of her mum.
My beautiful mum. There are no words that can describe just how special you were and how much you meant to me. We are not a family that shows our love through lots of hugs and kisses, but we always knew we were very loved. Mum and I spoke at least once a week, without fail. No matter where I was in the world, we would always keep in touch. When I was travelling around Europe, I was lucky enough to meet up with Mum and Raywin for the last couple of weeks. We travelled around England, Ireland, and spent a week in Greece. On this trip, Mum and I went to a show in Trafalgar Square. I really wanted to watch The Lion King, but Mum wasn't that keen. I managed to convince her, and when she was lying ill in bed in the last couple of weeks, it was something that she brought up and we talked about as one of the most awesome experiences, the amazing costumes and singing that were part of the show. We enjoyed the show so much that when it came back to New Zealand, Mum and I, along with Kylie and Raywin this time, went up to Auckland to see it again. It was another great weekend away, although we both agreed the show in London was better. In all things that I've done, I always knew I had the support of my mum. She was a constant. She was a great sounding board. And then when Adam came into my life about 16 years ago, he was welcomed into the family. Again, not hugs and kisses, but he knew he'd been accepted, and the fact that Mum changed the tea bags in the pantry and there was always white bread in the freezer for when he visited. Mum, as Robin spoke about, Mum had a love of shopping, which some people may say she has managed to pass on to the next generation. It was not always about the purchases themselves, but the thrill of the hunt and finding a bargain along the way. Anytime Mum had been away on a trip, she always brought us something back. Although in recent years, our gifts got a little bit smaller and the grandkids got a little bit more spoiled. A couple of years ago, when Aubrey was just a little baby, Kylie and I surprised Mum with a shopping trip to Christchurch for her birthday. This was certainly a surprise to her and turned out to be a really good trip. On this trip, we think we've started the next generation of shoppers, as Aubrey sat in her pram quietly the whole time. I think Esme and Danielle may have inherited a little bit as well. As kids, we didn't have loads and loads of holidays, but the ones we did have were always really memorable. Our first trip to Australia was with Grandma and Mum. Mum putting on a brave face as we made her go on every single ride in the theme park. We'd always dreamed of going to Disneyland, and then in the year 2000, Mum and Dad finally managed to take us. It was a trip I will never forget, with lots of firsts and happy memories. Mum always wanted to make sure that us kids travelled while we were still young enough to enjoy it. Mum regretted not travelling more before she had children and wanted to make sure her kids experienced seeing the world and what it had to offer. I think we all took this on board and have lots of travel adventures under our belts. Mum loved to hear about what we got up to and receive all the photos that we took from our trips. As Robin mentioned, Mum had a very strong work ethic. Her and Dad have passed this on to us children. As Mum was often out late on the farm, I would have to cook dinner. Mum would prepare the food and then I just had to cook it. Doesn't seem that hard, right? Turns out I'm quite easily distracted. Sometimes it would be overcooked, sometimes it wouldn't get turned on at all. Kylie wasn't much help. And you can ask her about the green chicken saga. I'd like to say that my cooking skills have improved, but I'm not sure Adam would agree. Recently, Mum and I were talking about our trips together and the good times that we'd had. Mum's wish is that even though she's no longer here to enjoy them with us, that these types of trips still continue. Mum and Dad were married for 46 years. Like most couples, they had their ups and downs, but they managed to work through them. The last 6 years have been incredibly tough, with Dad's accident, the loss of many much-loved family members, and the stresses that come with farming in these times. Mum battled her way through and had recently been working on her own health by joining a couple of different exercise groups. She was really enjoying her time off the farm, meeting the new people, and the benefits that the exercise came with. This showed when she came up to Queenstown for a visit and we did a 7k walk in preparation for the 10k race that we were signed up for in November. Unfortunately, Mum's illness meant she couldn't come to the race, but I did it on her behalf. When Mum was given the news that she had terminal cancer and there was no viable treatment options, she didn't dwell on it or complain. She just wanted to make sure she enjoyed the time she had left. This is not an easy feat when you're dealing with our health system. We were lucky enough to spend one last Christmas with Mum by bringing it forward to the start of December. And although it was sad knowing it was her last one together, we had a lovely day and made lots of lasting memories. Family meant the world to Mum. She would do anything for the ones that she loved, including dropping everything to be with them in their time of need. I remember ringing Mum a few years back after receiving some bad news from the doctor. Mum was quite worried about me, and even though I assured her over the phone it was okay, 3.5 hours later, Dad and Mum turned up on my door in Queenstown. Mum needed to see for herself that I really was okay and that I knew she was there for me. Mum will live on within all of us, and we will never stop mentioning her name and sharing the stories with the next generations. There is a huge, huge hole in my heart, and I will never stop loving you, Mum. Rest in peace and enjoy your time with our loved ones up there. You're in good company. This is not goodbye, but until we meet again. Love you, Mum.
Thank you, Bronwyn, for sharing those lovely memories of your mum, and Adam for coming up as well. I'd now like to invite Bronwyn. I'm sorry. Kylie. Sorry, I'd really like to invite Kylie up now, and she's coming up with Matt, Edwin and Aubrey.
In this moment of loss, I stand before you to celebrate the remarkable life of a woman who embodied selflessness, hard work, and boundless love. A person I had the privilege to call my mum. She truly was the critical nut that held us all together. My mum was not only a dedicated farmer, but the backbone of her family and a beacon of support for anyone in need. There are so many stories of mum helping out when people were sick. Cheryl, Erin, Chrissy, Paul were just a handful of those that she helped. Mum worked full time on the farm along with doing all the housework and cooking. She was the embodiment of a true superhero. Even though Mum was busy with her farming duties, she always made time for us to pursue the things that made us happy, like netball, and would work around having to pick us up from practices with getting the cows in. This also led to memorable moments like my sixth form formal photo. Most people have photos with everyone immaculately presented. Mine, on the other hand, was us standing in the driveway with Mum dressed in her hat, blue overalls and covered in cow poo. Mum wasn't the greatest cook in the world. However, we never went hungry. I remember countless times we'd be sitting up on the bench as she made asparagus rolls for events. She'd cut off all the crust and we would dip them in warm butter, and she would always make sure there was always one or two of the asparagus left over that we were allowed to eat, and those crusts never tasted better. Mum's love for shopping, shoes and handbags, coupled with her love for finding a bargain, added a unique vibrancy to our lives. We had so many laughs heading away on girls' trips together. She loved nothing better than to shower the kids with clothes which she picked up for $1 or so, and would say, "I couldn't help but buy it. You couldn't make it for cheaper," even if this meant we ended up with 3 of the exact same top. The kids loved being with Grandma and would often want to call her to tell them of their achievements. In the last year, Aubrey especially loved seeing Grandma every Friday, and this would always end with Aubrey in her arms reading her latest school book. Would often go away for trips in the school holidays to Bronwyn and Raywins. Mum never complained, well, not to me anyways, about our Kmart trips, which often lasted for hours. My car trips will now seem very empty without you there, Mum, to keep me company, while the kids sit in the back with their headphones on. As I reflect on the countless memories we shared, I'm overwhelmed by the gratitude for the times that you were there for me and for the invaluable advice you gave. I always knew if I called, you would be there in a heartbeat. You are my constant, and it feels so overwhelming that you're no longer here. At my sports games, you were there. For my heartbreaks, you were there. For life's tough decisions, you were there. At the birth of Ned, you were there. Shifting houses, even though with your sore hand, you were there. You were always there, day or night. You were just always there. Today my heart aches with the realisation I'll no longer have the privilege of your presence. The void you leave behind is immeasurable. I will miss you more than words can convey. I know you didn't want to leave us, and we didn't want you to go. This cruel disease ripped you away from us, with little times to get our heads around it. I'm grateful for the time we had together in the last few weeks. As normal though, you were always putting yourself last and kept telling me I didn't need to be there as the kids would be missing me. However, there was nowhere else I wanted to be. I find comfort that on the last night in the hospital, you told me that you could see Grandma and Granddad. I'm glad that you are reunited with your best friend again, and this helps to bring me some peace. Your legacy of love, hard work and generosity will live on in our hearts. I will ensure we reminisce about you and your beautiful soul so that we continue to live on in Edwin's and Aubrey's heart forever. I love you, Mum. Edwin, do you want to say something, honey?
Grandma was the best grandma you could ever wish for. Grandma, we wish you could stay.
Thank you very much, Kylie. And Edwin and Aubrey, how beautifully special and all those wonderful memories. I'd now like to invite Stephen up.
It wasn't always the bed of roses when we were early on in our married life, one of our aunties gave us a black and white TV. And I got sick of watching the snow. I says to Sandra, I'm going to fix this. So she says, you can't fix it. You'll get electrocuted. I'm not silly, I said. I've unplugged it. And I put my hand in and got a shock and threw me across the room. She was right. I should have listened to Sandra. This continued on. We had Mum was making jam from blackberries. So me and Billy picked a bucket of blackberries each. And Sandra wasn't keen on doing the blackberries, so I thought, I rang Mum up, she told me how to do it. Get your biggest pot, put your blackberries in, put some sugar in and boil it. Well, unfortunately, my biggest pot was a pressure cooker. And when it boiled, a pit must have got stuck in the thing that goes round. And it was going round, spreading this red dye round and round the kitchen. You couldn't get near it because it was boiling hot. And I had to turn the main off at the thing and then slowly let it cool down. And then Sandra picked it up and hifted it out the backyard. That was another of my unsuccessful treats things. Oh, this went on for years. I'd come up with a cunning plan, and Sandra would she would say, I don't think we should be doing this. There was a cow got away with me on the gate, and she said, just let it go. And I said, no, I'm going to get it back in. I don't like them beating me. So I ran round the corner, and I just used to have a long drain for the effluent, and I just cleaned it out with a digger the day before. Normally I used to run across and jump the ditch and get her. Run across, slipped on a wet bit, and ended up in the middle. And Sandra's on the outside saying, quickly get out before we get mud on you. And meaning that I had to get out before it soaked through the combinations. But that wasn't successful either. I had to go and have a shower. No, we had many things like that in our married life. I can remember when we were building Mum's house, we all worked together, and we had it was rickety scaffolding, and Sandra says to me, I think that scaffolding's not good enough. And I said, oh, it's fine, look at Neil, he's getting up there good. He had 6 or 7 bricks walking up the scaffolding. The next minute he fell off. It was at the top of the thing, so it was a good drop. The bricks went down first, and Neil done a somersault and landed on his feet like a cat. And then I thought to myself, I think we'll have to do the scaffolding. When we went to Fiji, Matt and Bronwyn were out sailing on the wee yachts, and I took Kylie out because Sandra didn't want to go. And the second day, I talked Sandra to go, and after a while, it took a while to talk her around, and everyone else was out there sailing before we got there. So we sailed out just as the other ones were sailing back, and then the wind went calm and we were stuck out there. And I said to Sandra, it's romantic out here, and she says, no, it's not. I want to go home. I want to go in. And Matt came rowing out in the canoe and rescued us. Adam came out in the canoe and rescued us. And he that night he said, "Oh, we'll have a drink on Adam," he says, because he rescued us from high seas, and it was as calm as a millpond. If I had got some wind, I could have sailed back in. That was another one. One day the four-wheeler was broken, so I come up with a cunning plan. We'd go on a two-wheeler. So it was Logan on the front, me in the driving, Sandra on behind, and Bronwyn on by that, and Sandra was pregnant. And we're going around the corner. I went too slow, and the whole lot of us ended up in the ditch. That was it. And I was more concerned about Sandra being pregnant, and Logan was whinging about getting wet. And one night, we got a ring from Raywin and Tracy. Have a look out the window and see the aliens. So we looked out the window and we could see these flashy lights going round. It was blue and yellow, and they were going around in circles, and they were coming down from the sky right over the top of the farm. We watched it for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and I'm a great believer of seeing's believing, and they could definitely see it. Everyone could see it. So we rang Neil up to see if he got out and had a look, because it was about 9 o'clock at night. And they stayed there. The next minute, Neil turns up with his family. We're all out on the porch. This is in the two-storied house in the middle farm, looking at it. And then Kylie started to get a bit upset, so she went away and rang the police to find out whether anyone else had been seeing these aliens. And then Willie says to me, "I don't know why you're getting upset," he says. "They only want the intelligent ones. You'll be safe." Willie was only about 10 at the time. But and Sandra's made the decision. That's it. Everyone inside. Pulled the curtains. And when I woke up in the morning, Sandra was pushing me over, because she always woke up before me. And here's Kylie on the other side of the bed. She moved in with Mum. It was hard to work out. It was definitely lights coming down out of the sky, and they're going around in circles like a flying saucer. But Bronwyn come home after we'd all gone to bed, and it was a light show at Milton, and it must have went up into the sky, reflected off the clouds, and come back down on our farm. So that was the go with that. I think it's an appropriate time to thank some of the family members for Sandra and I's farming career. We started off, we had to build a new cow shed, and there was Neil on the concrete mixer, shoveling the wheel, Billy on the wheelbarrow, and me and Dad laying the concrete. We built that first cow shed day after day. Sandra was working at the post office. First year, we had 60 cows to milk, 40 calved, and then we got the flood. We had to sell 20 cows because we never had no grass. So that was enough to keep us afloat. The guy from the Royal Bank come round, he said, "We're on the list of the ones that's most likely to fail." And I said, "Who else is on the list?" And he said, "No, I can't tell you that." But when he left, he asked me the directions to Terry Barnett's. And he actually failed. But Sandra and I hung in. She worked at the post office, and I'd done everything at low cost as I could. That's how I got the name. That's how I got the name. They give me the number plate when I turned 50, low cost, to put on my car. So that was that's how we started. I'd like to thank Neil Henderson for when the girls were away on holiday, 6 girls and the kids, and 1 man, that was Neil. He handled it every year with a smile on his face. I'd like to thank Paul. When I had the accident, he knocked off his job and came and worked for us to keep us going. Sandra really appreciated that. And John Williams for trying to sort out the farm down south. And especially Lana, who took up the bookkeeping thing for Sandra. That was a big weight off her shoulders. But all in all, Logan says to me, "I'm going to miss Mum." He says, when I wanted some advice, she would talk to me. And I said, "I'm a good talker." He says, You're a good talker, but you're a piss poor listener." So, I'll still be here for the family, do my best. And I'm going to miss Sandra the most. She was everything to me. in the theory, I was supposed to go first. I'm 4 years older. I've broke my neck. I've had numerous accidents, and I'm still here, and she's gone. Just doesn't seem fair. I'll miss you, Sandra.
Thank you very much, Stephen. All those beautiful memories you shared, and the laughter and all the stories, so thank you. Now, are there any other family members that would like to come up and share a few short words or memories before we move on to open sharing? So I'm just going to open it up now. If you'd like to come up, you've got an opportunity to come up here and just say a few short words or share a memory or two of Sandra. And you're absolutely most welcome to come. So please come forward if you'd like to.
I'm friends of, all the Kelly kids, so I thought I'd come and just tell a wee story about how I started my business. And so the Kellys were my first client. And so they got us started off from the bat. But there was one story that was probably, remember Sandra saying, Stephen, that's probably not a good idea. And that I think we were taking the digger off, and we ended up unfortunately bending the tray on the truck. So but we got it sorted out in the end, didn't we, Stephen? So but I'd just like to say thanks, Kelly family and Sandra and Nat for getting us started to where we are. So
Now we have heard Sandra's life story, and now we're going to watch memories of her life in photos.
I took the supermarket flyers from the windowsill. I threw the day old tea from the cup. Packed up the photo album Matthew had made. Memories of a life that's been loved. Took the get well soon cars and stuffed animals. Pulled the old ginger beer down the sink. Dad always told me, don't you cry when you're down. But Mum, there's a tear every time that I blink. Oh, I'm in pieces, it's tearing me up. But I know a heart that's broke is a heart that's been loved. So I'll sing hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mum. When I fell down, you'd be there holding me up. Spread your wings as you go. When God takes you back, He'll say hallelujah, you're home. I fluffed the pillows, made the bed, stacked the chairs up. Folded your nightgowns neatly in a case. John said he'd drive, then put his hand on my cheek and wiped a tear from the side of my face. And I hope that I see the world as you did, 'cause I know a life with love is a life I'll sing hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mom. When I fell down, you'd be there holding me up. Spread your wings as you go. And when God takes you back, he'll say hallelujah, you're home. Hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mom. You got to see the person I have become. Spread your wings and I know that when God took you back, he said hallelujah, you're home.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, all my memories gather round her. Miner's lady, stranger to blue water. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, I hear her voice in the morning hour. She calls
That's all I am taking with me. Goodbye, please don't cry. We both know that I'm not what you need. But I will always love you. I will always love you. I hope life treats you kind, and I hope that you have all that you ever dreamed of, and I wish you joy and happiness. But above all of this, I wish you love, and I will always love you. I will always love you. I will always love you.
So many beautiful photos there, and very lots of gorgeous memories to cherish and remember. And the slideshow was accompanied by supermarket flowers and country roads and I Will Always Love You, all beautiful songs and very significant. So such beautiful songs. Now, after the service today, just before they take Sandra to the hearse, there will be flowers and roses. And rosemary to pop in there, so just if you do that. But just keeping in that vein of the roses and the beautiful roses that her sisters had, I'm now going to sing the rose for Sandra and her family. Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching need. I say love, it is a flower, and you, it's only seed. It's a heart afraid of breaking that never learns to dance. It's a dream afraid of that with the sun's love in the spring becomes the rose. So I'd like to thank you once again for being here today to offer your love and support to Sandra's family as they now learn to navigate their lives without her. We all have our own special memories of Sandra, and in the coming days, months and years, it is important to talk about her. Remember the times that you shared. This will keep her close to your hearts. There is no hard and fast rule on how to grieve, and grieving is different for us all. So remember to be kind to yourselves. Grief, I have learned, is really just love. It's all the love that you want to give but cannot. All that unspent love gathers in the corners of your eyes, in that lump in your throat, and that hollow part of your chest. Grief is just love with no place to go. And that's by Jamie Anderson. So I now ask you to please stand if you are able. Sandra, you are so dearly loved. You're in our hearts and our minds, and we'll carry you with us as we move forward with our lives. Everything you have done is still done. Everyone you love is still loved. Everything we've learnt from you is still learnt. And so we will let you pass from this world for which you did so much and for which you continue to do. Because when we walk this earth, we walk it with you. You leave us with the strength and the pride to do what is good and right, and your memory will guide us as you did when you were at our side. And for this we say thank you and goodbye. And may the winds of heaven blow softly and gently in your ear. How much we love and miss you and wish that you were still here. So fly free, Sandra, and rest in peace.
Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching need. I say love, it is a flower, and you, it's only seed. It's the heart afraid of breaking that never learns to dance. It's the dream afraid of waking that never takes the chance. It's the one who won't be taken, who cannot seem to give, and the soul It's the heart afraid of breaking that never learns to dance. It's the dream afraid of waking that never takes the chance. It's the one who won't be taken, who cannot seem to give, and the soul afraid of dying that never learns to live. When the night has been too lonely and the road has been too long, and you think that love is only for the lucky and the strong, just remember in the winter, far beneath the bitter snows, lies the seed that with the sun's love in the spring. It must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine, that's your way. You always walked a step behind. So I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. A beautiful face without a name for so long. A beautiful smile to hide the pain.
Good afternoon, everyone. If you'd like to make your way over to the lounge for a cup of coffee and a bite to eat and share more memories of Sandra, you're most welcome to go there now.